Welcome, friends, to an expedition into a forgotten secret in our modern, noisy world, the secret of purposeful silence. We live in an age that glorifies the loudest voice, where attention often flocks to those who talk the most and the most often. But here's the truth. The loudest voice rarely wins in the end. The true conqueror is often the quiet one, the one with a clear purpose behind their actions. Silence is not the absence of power. It is power. When you speak less, people lean in more intently to hear what you finally say. When you observe more, you see opportunities and navigate better than the distracted crowd. In a world that seems addicted to noise, your restraint becomes your sharpest weapon. Reveal too much and you give away your strategic advantage. True strength is silent. True power is felt, not shouted. Will you discipline your voice and sharpen your actions, or keep spilling your energy through needless words? In just a few moments, we will delve into how silence becomes your secret weapon to win bigger by speaking less and doing more. This is the power of purposeful silence at work. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people in a room are often those who speak the least? They listen intently, observe carefully, and when they finally open their mouths, everyone leans in to hear what they have to say. This is no coincidence. This is the power of purposeful silence manifesting. In a world that celebrates noise, rewards the loudest voice, and constantly demands your attention, and your word's silence has become a forgotten art. But make no mistake, silence is not the absence of power, it is power itself. The ability to remain quiet when others are clamoring to be heard is a sign of supreme self-control and profound inner strength. Think about the great minds who have shaped our world. Did they rise to prominence by constantly announcing their intentions? No. They worked in focused silence until their results spoke volumes. Purposeful silence allows you to conserve your mental energy. Every word you speak costs you something: attention, focus, energy that could be directed toward your goals. When you choose to speak less, you automatically create space to do more. This isn't about becoming uncommunicative. It's about becoming intentional with your words and your energy. The power of silence extends beyond just restraining your speech. It encompasses the disciplined quieting of negative self-talk, the silencing of excuses, and the muting of distractions that pull you away from your purpose. When you embrace purposeful silence, you begin to hear the whispers of opportunity that are drowned out by constant chatter. You may wonder, how do I harness this power of silence in my own life? The answer is simple but profound. Begin by listening twice as much as you speak. When in meetings, resist the urge to immediately voice your opinion. Instead, absorb what others are saying. Process it fully, and then only if necessary offer your wisdom. Notice how people respond differently to your words when they come from a place of thoughtful silence rather than reactive speech. Muhammad Ali, one of history's greatest boxers, once said that the fight is won or lost far away from witnesses. In the gym, on the road, long before he danced under those lights, his most significant victories weren't won with his famous wordplay, but in the silent, grueling hours of training when no one was watching. Embrace the power of purposeful silence. Let your actions crescendo while your words remain measured and few. Remember that a waterfall makes noise, but the deep ocean is silent, and it is in the ocean's depths where the true power lies. Your journey to success begins not with proclamations, but with quiet determination. Start today. Speak less. Listen more. Work diligently in silence and watch as your results begin to make all the noise you'll ever need. Why silence matters. Have you ever stopped to notice just how noisy your life has become? Not just the audible noise, though. There's plenty of that, but the constant barrage of information, opinions, and distractions that flood your consciousness every waking moment. Endless meetings and incessant chatter have created a world where silence has become a rare commodity. This noise isn't just annoying, it's costing you your success. When your mind is constantly bombarded with information, it becomes impossible to think deeply, to reflect meaningfully, to plan strategically. The noise of modern life has become the greatest thief of your potential. But the problem goes deeper than just productivity. This constant noise affects your very ability to make good decisions. When you're always reacting to the latest emergency, responding to the most recent request, or getting pulled into another conversation, you lose the space needed for strategic thinking. The noise crowds out the silence required for wisdom to emerge. John F. Kennedy would regularly schedule thinking time in his presidential calendar. Blocks where he would retreat from the chaos of the Oval Office to reflect and consider the most pressing issues facing the nation. These weren't luxuries. They were necessities for clear-headed leadership. Create physical spaces that invite silence. Even if it's just a corner of your home where you can sit undisturbed for 15 minutes, having a dedicated place for quiet reflection can transform your thinking. The great industrialist Andrew Carnegie had a special room in his home where he would retreat to think without distraction, a practice that contributed significantly to his extraordinary success. Silence matters because it is only in silence that certain crucial mental processes can occur. It's in silence that you connect disparate ideas to form innovation. It's in silence that you reflect on your true priorities rather than simply responding to whatever seems urgent. It's in silence that you can hear your own wisdom, rather than constantly absorbing the opinions of others. The noise of modern life wants to rob you of your greatest asset, your ability to think clearly and act decisively. Don't surrender this power willingly. Fight for silence. Protect it as the precious resource it is. For in a world that seems to value noise above all, the ability to cultivate silence has become a tremendous competitive advantage. Choose silence strategically, and watch as your mental clarity, your decisiveness, and ultimately your results begin to separate you from the noisy, distracted masses. Observing before acting. Have you ever noticed how the most successful people seldom reveal their hand immediately? They watch, they wait, they observe, and then they act with precision and impact. This is no accident. This is silence used as a strategy, and it's one of the most powerful approaches you can adopt in your quest for achievement. When you enter a new situation, there's immense pressure to prove yourself immediately, to speak up, to show what you know. But this impulse, while natural, often leads to premature action based on incomplete information. The strategic use of silence gives you the advantage of gathering crucial intelligence before making your move. Consider the chess master who studies the board intently before touching a piece, or the skilled negotiator who allows the other party to speak first, revealing valuable information about their position. This strategic silence isn't passive, it's intensely active, a concentrated gathering of data that will inform more effective action. The great military strategist Sun Tzu understood this principle well when he advised that all warfare is based on deception. By remaining silent about your intentions while carefully observing your competition, you gain a tremendous tactical advantage. This same principle applies in business, personal development, and virtually every competitive arena. Mahatma Gandhi, despite being known for his powerful influence, was often silent during critical meetings, speaking only when necessary and with carefully chosen words. This strategic use of silence made his statements all the more impactful when he did choose to speak. So how do you implement this strategy in your own life? Start by approaching new situations with the mindset of an anthropologist, observing norms, dynamics, and unstated rules before asserting yourself. In meetings, practice being the second or third person to speak, allowing you to build upon others' ideas from a position of greater information. When you enter negotiations, resist the urge to fill uncomfortable silences. Often the person who speaks first concedes valuable ground. Train yourself to be comfortable with these quiet moments, using them to observe reactions and gather intelligence. The strategy of silence also applies to how you handle your successes and plans. Research consistently shows that talking about your plans gives you a premature sense of accomplishment, reducing the likelihood you'll put in the work. The most determined achievers often work in silence, letting their results speak for themselves when the time is right. Strategic silence gives you the space to observe patterns that others miss, identify opportunities, and act from a position of superior knowledge. Embrace silence as your strategy. Watch more, speak less. Gather intelligence and act with comprehensive understanding. The connection between silence and self-mastery. There's a profound connection between silence and self-mastery. When you embrace silence, you journey toward mastering yourself, the prerequisite for mastering anything else. Self-mastery begins with self-awareness emerging only in silence. In quiet moments away from external stimuli, you see yourself as you are. Strengths, weaknesses, true desires, authentic voice. The habit of external noise drowns out your deeper wisdom. But with space for silence, you distinguish your own thoughts from those absorbed from the environment, essential for authentic achievement. Andrew Carnegie credited daily periods of silence and reflection for many of his insights. The connection extends to emotional self-regulation, crucial for success. Sitting with silence means sitting with yourself and your emotions without immediate reaction. The pause between stimulus and response is where your power lies. In this silence, you choose your response rather than being driven by automatic reactions. Develop this connection by scheduling regular periods of solitude time, disconnected from external input. This practice, uncomfortable initially, builds your capacity for self-awareness. Next practice, the pause, deliberately inserting silence before responding to challenges. Train yourself to take deep breaths. This simple habit creates space for higher faculties to engage. The ultimate expression is maintaining inner silence amid external chaos. Your responses emerge from centered awareness, not triggered reactivity. Achieving this makes you unstoppable. The silent self-mastery connection creates an upward spiral. Practice silence, develop. Self-mastery. Increase. Self-mastery, become more comfortable with silence. This virtuous cycle separates you from those driven by external stimuli and impulses. Embrace silence as the pathway to self-mastery. In a world of reactive individuals, become the responsive one. In a culture of impulsiveness, cultivate deliberate action. Let silence forge your unshakable character. How the quiet mind discovers opportunity. Have you had your best idea while in a relaxed state? This isn't coincidence. A quiet mind discovers exceptional opportunities others miss. It's about processing information in unique ways happening in mental quietude. A buzzing mind operates in narrow focus, great for executing tasks, but poor for making connections or noticing patterns. The quiet mind activates diffuse thinking, a relaxed state for unexpected associations and insights. Logical thinking cannot produce. Albert Einstein relied on images and feelings in long periods of contemplative silence. Cultivate this quiet mind by recognizing opportunity detection requires a relaxed state. Schedule periods with no specific agenda, allowing your mind to wander. Practice mindfulness, present observation without judgment, not emptying the mind, but quieting constant evaluation. Create physical environments supporting quietude. Use strategic incompletion. Step away from complex problems to allow your subconscious to work. The quiet mind discovers opportunity beyond consensus thinking. Breakdowns lie in spaces between categories and questions not yet asked in problems others gave up on. Cultivate your quiet mind as your greatest competitive advantage. Tomorrow's opportunities will be discovered by those seeing patterns emerging only in silence. Building inner strength through disciplined silence. Truly strong individuals rarely announce their strength. They carry themselves with quiet confidence. This strength emerges through disciplined silence, a practice building mental and emotional fortitude unlike anything else. When discomfort arises, anxiety, uncertainty, most escape through distraction. They fill the silence, robbing themselves of experiences, building inner strength. Disciplined silence develops the capacity to sit with discomfort and face uncertainty without immediate relief or answers. It builds the emotional muscles for life's challenges. Alone with thoughts and feelings without distractions, it may feel overwhelming initially. But with disciplined silence, something remarkable happens. You develop emotional non-reactivity, experiencing strong feelings without being controlled. Practice maintaining silence where you'd normally speak. When criticized, resist defending immediately. When praised, resist elaborating. When facing a problem, resist verbalizing to others. These small acts of verbal restraint build emotional self-regulation. Disciplined silence builds tolerance for ambiguity, functioning effectively without all answers. Essential for leadership and innovation requiring comfort with the unknown. Most importantly, it builds inner strength to stand alone when necessary. Amid pressure to conform, your centered silence provides fortitude to follow your convictions, even diverging from mainstream. Vince Lombardi maintained disciplined silence, evaluating carefully before decisive action, allowing unpopular but correct decisions leading to unprecedented success. Build your inner strength through disciplined silence. Be comfortable in the absence of noise. Face your inner world without flinching. Only with this inner strength will your outer actions transform your life and the world. Action over words. Some talk constantly about future plans but remain stagnant. Others say little but consistently take action. These are silent achievers. Understanding power lies in action, not words. The world is full of talkers, but achievement belongs to doers. Focusing energy on consistent action creates momentum. No conversation can generate. This protects goals from premature sharing. Sabotage. Talking about goals triggers a false sense of completeness, reducing motivation for hard work. Become a silent achiever by adopting a rule for every goal. Take at least one tangible action before telling anyone. Shift focus from input to output. Measure days by concrete results produced. Find satisfaction in doing rather than discussing. Energy follows attention. Focusing on talk directs energy away from creation. Become a silent achiever. Let others talk while you act. Announce while you advance. Seek attention while you seek results. When all is said and done, and more is usually said than done, your actions, not your words, will write your legacy. Creating your silent mastermind alliance. Some accelerate success through the quality of their associations. A silent mastermind alliance. A selected group elevating each other's thinking, performance, and results. This is beyond ordinary networking. A true mastermind alliance involves a meeting of minds for a common purpose, creating something greater than individuals alone. A third mind, Walt Disney and his brother Roy, combined creative vision and financial acumen to build their empire operating without public fanfare. Create your silent mastermind alliance by identifying values and capabilities complementing yours. Emphasize quality and purpose alignment, not quantity of connections. Seek individuals with skills you lack, and character integrity, persistence, courage, disciplined thinking. Alliance harmony is impossible with conflicting core values. Approach potential members with clarity on mutual benefits. Reciprocity is key. Make explicit what you bring and seek. Structure meetings around specific challenges. Be prepared with defined questions for collective thinking. Focus on actionable insights. Practice contribution before extraction. Add value first to create reciprocity. True mastermind alliances operate with silence, substance over show. While others announce networking prowess, you leverage collective intelligence to solve problems and seize opportunities invisible to the crowd. This silence doesn't lack energy. It channels it toward achievement. Evidence of power appears in results, not rhetoric. Create your alliance with intention. Cultivate relationships, elevating your thinking and challenging limitations. Contribute generously while drawing wisdom and support. In this alliance, discover power transforming your achievement capacity, transforming silence into decisive action. Some move with precision and impact, making decisions others comprehend long afterward. This is not luck. It's a process beginning with silence, culminating in decisive action. Transforming quiet reflection into powerful moves is a valuable skill. Most wrongly believe action and silence are opposites. They are sequential parts. Silence, observation, reflection, planning precedes effective action. Without it, action is mere reactive impulse. Ineffective. History's greatest achievements followed this pattern, apparent inaction for thought. Accumulation followed by precise, powerful action at the optimal moment. General George Patton studied maps and analyzed enemy patterns in silent preparation for his rapid advances. Transform silence into decisive action by recognizing quality thinking needs uninterrupted time. Block periods for reflection, treating them as crucial appointments. During silence, practice structured thinking. Ask specific questions. What's the problem opportunity? What am I missing? Wrong assumptions. Ideal outcome. Minimum steps. Right thoughts. It forces clarity. Thomas Edison documented his process in notebooks. Look for Satori clarity where complexities resolve. These insights emerge when the mind processes information in silence. Define your trigger point when thinking transitions to doing. This prevents analysis paralysis. When the moment arrives, move with total commitment. Half-hearted implementation undermines plans. Establish a feedback loop. Return to silence after action to reflect. This oscillation between thinking and doing creates upward spirals of effectiveness. Roger Bannister alternated training and analysis to break the 4-minute mile. Transform your silence into decisive action. Make reflection periods disciplined. Recognize action quality equals preceding thought. Quality. Integrated silence and action create formidable force, turning aspiration into achievement efficiently. Your path to greatness. The most profound revolutions don't begin with dramatic declarations, but quietly in a single mind, choosing to think/act differently. This is the quiet revolution. Personal transformation, changing everything, only revealing results when too significant to ignore. We live in a culture celebrating noise. But true greatness emerges from a quiet revolution within systematic implementation of principles, producing extraordinary results. It begins with a shift from seeking external validation to pursuing internal excellence. Stop worrying about perception. Focus on action quality. Abraham Lincoln prepared himself through quiet improvement in obscurity. Initiate your quiet revolution by auditing where energy flows. Impression versus substance, talking versus doing. Implement the silence-action ratio for every hour, discussing goals. Invest 10 in silent, focused work. Develop quiet confidence, self-assurance from consistent adherence to high standards. Practice private accountability, doing right even unseen. Embrace stealth achievement, accomplishing milestones without drawing attention. Continuous forward motion creates compound growth. Your quiet revolution isn't isolation. It's engaging from silent strength, not noisy insecurity, contributing substance where world's okay with symbol, creating lasting impact over temporary impression. Great achievers understood this. Revolutions began quietly within before transforming fields. The world. They sought difference, not noise, finding path to greatness. Start your quiet revolution. Speak less. Do more. Build capacity in silence. Let results make noise. This simple shift transforms results' identity. This is your path to greatness, not dramatic displays, but quiet, consistent application of transformative principles. Will you have the courage to embrace it? Influence without noise. Some leaders command a room without raising voice. Silent leadership. Influence based on quality and timing, not volume or frequency. True influence comes from speaking with purpose, listening with intent, acting with conviction. Their power. How deeply they're heard when they do speak. Silent leadership creates space for others to contribute. Innovate. Leader. Not constantly talking, lets teams step forward, taking initiative. This multiplies leadership. Develop silent leadership by mastering purposeful communication. Ask 3 questions before speaking. Necessary, helpful. Right time practice. Leadership listening, using silence to create space for others. You gain insight and build trust. Develop courage to be brief. Brevity is leadership skill. When you speak less words, carry more weight. Eleanor Roosevelt influenced through quiet persistence, principled action, moral authority, not verbal dominance. Use silence strategically in discussions. Pause creates reflection. Signals. Importance lets tensions dissipate. Leadership presence doesn't require constant visibility. Powerful leaders are felt even when absent through systems built. Cultures shaped, people developed. Sustained influence is true measure. Develop silent leadership. Speak purpose. Listen intent. Act conviction. Create space for growth. Lead by example, not exhortation. True influence, not voice volume, but character, integrity. Wisdom of carefully chosen words. The wisdom of thoughtful response. Over hasty reaction. Regretted a hasty response. Probably regretted thinking before responding. Probably not. The gap between stimulus and response is where your power lies. Expanding it is invaluable. Reacting immediately uses the limbic system. Emotional reactive based on conditioning, not best thinking. A pause allows prefrontal cortex engagement. Higher order thinking, bringing wisdom, perspective, choice. Develop thoughtful response with a physical foundation breathing. 3 deep breaths interrupt automatic cycle. Adopt the 24-hour rule for significant emotional decisions. Buffer period allows emotions to subside. Florence Nightingale analyzed data, not reacted emotionally to transform healthcare during Crimean War. Practice perspective, shifting. Consider situation from multiple viewpoints. Other person, future mentor. Develop response protocols for predictable triggers, predetermined guidelines for thoughtful action despite high emotions. Thoughtful response isn't suppressing emotion but expressing its serving intentions. Not emotional detachment but emotional intelligence, using feelings as info, not letting them dictate action. Cultivate wisdom of thoughtful response. Expand stimulus-response gap. Trade. Impulse for deliberation. In that space, the pause lies. Freedom to choose your path and determine results. The art of strategic patience. In a world obsessed with instant results, strategic patience, disciplined capacity to wait for right moment is rare, valuable. Not passive waiting or procrastination, but active, purposeful alignment of action with optimal timing. Often makes difference between extraordinary success and frustrating failure. Most underestimate timing. They rush goals. Not realizing forced timing gives incomplete results or resistance. Masters know certain outcomes can't be hurried. Strategic patience recognizes aspects needing action versus watchful waiting. Distinguishing what to control versus what to influence is key. Develop strategic patience by distinguishing activity from progress. Busyness creates illusion of advancement without meaningful outcomes. Evaluate results, not effort. Substance, not show. Study natural timing of your field. Align efforts with cycles, not fighting them. Practice strategic invisibility, working without recognition during preparatory phases. Premature exposure sabotages achievements. AP. Giannini patiently invested in long-term relationships after 1906. SF earthquake building. Bank of America's foundation of trust. Develop comfort with incremental progress. Enduring achievements come from patient accumulation of small advances. Each step seems insignificant, but collectively becomes unstoppable. Strategic patience isn't passive, it's preparatory. During waiting periods, build capabilities, gather resources, establish conditions, maximizing effectiveness when decisive action arrives. Productive patience creates readiness. Opportunistic urgency can't match. Cultivate strategic patience. Know when to act, when to wait. Distinguish genuine time sensitivity from impatience's false urgency. Mastering this balance reveals dimension of achievement, invisible to those driven by urgency. Illusion. The power of deep work in the world ever end a busy day, exhausted yet unfulfilled, active but accomplishing little meaningful. Difficulty of deep focused work in distraction-engineered world is a challenge. Capacity for sustained concentration. Deep work is rare yet valuable. As routine tasks automate, mastering complex skills, solving problems, creating innovative solutions is primary competitive advantage. Alexander Graham Bell maintained a separate workspace for undisturbed concentration. Juan Trippe of Pan Am kept simple schedule mornings for deep strategic thinking. Redesign environment to support focused effort, not resist distraction by willpower alone. Develop rituals signaling brain. It's time for deep engagement. T. Specific workspace. Deep work is a skill improving with consistent practice. Start short, extend capacity. Cultivate deep work. Create conditions supporting concentration. Eliminate fragmenting distractions. Develop rituals triggering focus. In world of shallow activity and scattered attention, ability to go deep on challenging problems, valuable opportunities is not just advantageous but essential for meaningful achievement. Legacy over fame. Consider difference. Successful life versus significant one. Achieving goals versus creating lasting value. Building career versus crafting legacy. Distinction between noisy pursuit of temporary visibility and quiet construction of enduring significance. Fame offers immediate rewards, attention, adulation, but fleeting, unsatisfying. It doesn't meet deeper need for meaning for life, contributing value, outlasting physical existence. Legacy focuses on creating knowing ideas, systems, organizations, people, creating value long after you're gone. Reorientation to lasting impact transcends success, creates legacy of contribution. George Washington Copley meticulously crafted portraits capturing essential character over quick income, creating legacy. Enduring centuries. Shift to legacy by extending time horizon. Ask, how will this matter in 20 years? Naturally aligns choices with enduring values. Identify impact forms, continuing beyond your involvement. Knowledge compounds, wisdom appreciates, developing others creates exponential growth. Focus on legacy. Creating activities. Practice. Cathedral thinking, contributing to projects completed beyond your lifetime. Medieval builders laid cathedral foundations knowing this. Practice. Succession consciousness, cultivating others to carry work forward. Mentoring those who may surpass you multiplies impact. True legacy built by consistent values principles in daily choices. Accumulated effect, how you treat people. Work. Quality priorities via actions, not words, creates ultimate impact. Measure. Choose legacy over fame. Focus on value, outlasting recognition. Invest in developing people, not impressing. Build systems, embodying values, vision. In the final analysis, quality of significance outweighs celebrity quantity. Impact created matters more than attention attracted. The discipline of focused elimination. Accomplished individuals seem to do less, not more. Not coincidence, strategy. In world, celebrating addition. More tasks, goals, connections, masters, practice. Opposite focused elimination discipline. Most pursue success by addition, diluting energy, fragmenting. Focus, leading to mediocrity. Excellence needs contraction, eliminating what doesn't directly contribute to important goals. Not just saying no to distractions, but to good opportunities for great ones. What you choose not to do is important as what you do. Benjamin Franklin cultivated virtues one at a time, recognizing simultaneous pursuit weakens effort. Implement discipline with elimination audit. Ruthless examination of energy time consumers. Does it support highest priorities? Eliminate, delegate, reduce. Practice. Strategic abandonment. Stopping activities no longer serving you. Recognize diminishing returns. Implement zero-based thinking. Would I start this now? Cuts sunk cost fallacy. Develop decision filters criteria, automatically eliminating options not aligning with core values. Discipline applies to thoughts, emotions too. Worry, resentment, unproductive comparison drain energy needed for achievement. Eliminating internal distractions may yield greater benefits. Practice focused elimination. Remove rather than add. Subtract rather than multiply. Focus rather than diversify. Path to extraordinary results. Often means courage to do less with complete commitment to what remains after inessential is gone. The courage of conviction in a conformist world. Ever go with crowd despite inner voice dissenting. Pressure to conform is powerful, but significant contributions come from courage to stand apart. Conviction. Courage, not contrarianism, but hearing your wisdom above noise. following understanding even away from herd. Galileo Galilei maintained scientific convictions despite powerful opposition. His insistence on Earth revolving around sun transformed understanding practice. Thought experiments in solitude, disconnecting to consider questions independently before seeking others' perspective. Develops original thinking, develop comfort, being misunderstood, seeing possibilities others don't. Tolerating discomfort without abandoning insights maintains conviction. Practice conviction management, holding core principles while open to refinement from new evidence. Fidelity to evolving understanding. Conviction. Courage demands rigorous thinking, seeking contradictory evidence, considering opposing views, testing against reality. Can't rely on consensus. Develop conviction courage. Listen to your wisdom. Follow understanding. Even from consensus. Hold principles easier though. Conforming is. In world where most outsource thinking. To group courage, to stand apart when conviction demands it may be most powerful. Silent strength. The integrity of action and values. Known someone whose every action aligned with values, words, deeds, consistent, unshakable integrity. More powerful than charisma, compelling than eloquence. Embodiment of alignment between saying, doing, believing. Rare valuable in world of inconsistency. Power of integrity. Not perfection, but congruence. Seamless connection between inner values, outer expression. Creates presence, commanding respect without demanding it. Words, actions, values as consistent whole communicates who you are. Silent influence. More persuasive than argument. Enduring than temporary authority. Develop this integrity with clarity about actual values, principles, guiding choices when unseen. Honest assessment. Practice. Congruence checking. Examining gaps between stated principles and actual behaviors. Not harsh judgment. Identifying areas undermining integrity. Adjust actions to match values or revise stated values. Develop habit of under-promising, over-delivering. Builds trust via demonstrated reliability. Practice. Private integrity, maintaining alignment even unseen. Develops character not depending on external accountability. Integrity, not about reputation but internal coherence. Aligned words, actions, values create wholeness. Authenticity, eliminating psychological drain of inconsistent selves. Releases energy consumed by cognitive dissonance. Cultivate integrity of alignment. Words matching actions both reflecting deep values. Close gaps. In this congruence lies power, transcending technique. Quiet. Compelling influence of a life speaking truth with its very existence. The wisdom of reflective intervals. Best insights rarely come during busiest moments. Solutions often emerge after activity in quiet. Your brain's design utilizing reflective intervals to process experience into wisdom. Hyperactive culture, constant activity, almost virtue, but problem without reflection intervals. Experience doesn't translate to understanding. Years of activity without wisdom. If you never pause. Reflective intervals. Deliberate pauses. Stepping back to consider meaning/implications. Bridge between experience and understanding. Transform disconnected events into growth narrative. You don't learn from experience. You learn from reflecting on experience. Incorporate intervals into demanding schedule. Recognize. Reflection isn't leisure. Essential cognitive work. Deserving time. Schedule. Daily, weekly reflection time. Treat as crucial meetings. Practice. Structured reflection. Approach time with specific questions. What worked? Didn't. Patterns. Wrong assumptions. Right thoughts. Forces clarity. Thomas Edison's notebooks. Develop physical environments supporting reflection, dedicated spaces roots. Learn to associate setting with deep thought. Practice reflection partnering dialogues with trusted others for insight surfacing via verbalization. Reflection requires distinct quality of attention, holding experiences in awareness without immediate analysis judgment, creating space for connections, skill improving with practice. Incorporate reflective intervals, schedule thoughtful consideration, create conducive environments, guide reflection with questions. In deliberate pauses, spaces between action and more action lies essential process. Activity transforms into achievement, information evolves into wisdom, beyond success to significance. Consider difference, successful versus significant life. Achieving goals versus creating lasting value. Career versus legacy. Distinction between success by accumulation and significance by contribution. Ultimate question. Many reach point conventional success no longer satisfies. Promotions, profits, recognition feel hollow. Not failure, but evolution. Signals. Readiness for transition. From success to significance, achieving for self, to contributing enduringly, benefiting others. Not abandoning achievement, but transforming purpose. Focus from getting to giving, possessing to providing, advancing to elevating others. This reorientation doesn't diminish success. Transcends it, creates legacy beyond conventional achievements. Make this transition with contribution audit, honest assessment of current activity, impact on others, taking or creating value, extracting from systems or improving. Establishes baseline practice. Legacy thinking regularly. Considering how current choices influence people, conditions, long after extends time. Horizon aligns choices with enduring outcomes. Develop contribution innovation, applying unique capabilities to overlooked needs. Like business innovation creates value. Contribution. Innovation creates impact. Forms. Communities. Environment. Institutions. Practice. Significance partnering. Collaborating for multiplied impact. Purposeful alliances on contribution exponentially greater than individual initiatives. Physician Alice Hamilton achieved success, then devoted to industrial medicine. Meticulous research advocacy saved lives. Established occupational health created significance beyond individual practice. Transition, not grand gestures. Career reinvention. Small shifts. How you approach work, relationships. Focusing on impact, not rewards. Measuring by contribution, not compensation, starts journey to significance. 2. Embrace evolution from success to significance. Look beyond achievement to contribution. Expand focus, accumulation to allocation. Shift energy, getting to giving. This transition from personal success to lasting significance, ultimate fulfillment of potential, true measure of life's value. Let your actions speak volumes. In a world full of noise, your silence becomes your strength. Speak only when it adds value. Otherwise, dominate with quiet execution. Focus, build, win. Every move you make in silence brings you closer to victory. Speak less. Do more. Power belongs to the quiet achievers.